This episode of The Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Netflix. Coming up, a classic game that defines the Xbox as a sequel. It's Halo 4.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Totally Rad Show. We've got a great week for you today. We are talking Halo 4.
What?
What?
Halo.
Halo.
And then tomorrow, there was some big news. The mouse has the Force. And we're talking about all the ramifications, what it means for us and for you and for the world tomorrow.
And then on Wednesday, these two gents checked out Lord of the Rings MOBA, Legends.
Guardians of Middle-earth.
You want to say
Guardians of Middle-earth.
You want to say something about Ga'Hoole, don't you?
Yeah,
really badly.
Or some sort of rising of, or of the galaxy.
So we'll fill you in.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings, we'll hear about it.
Perfect. Thursday, we're back with Secret Identity. Will we guess? Hopefully we will.
This is a big week. I'm just realizing it right now how big this week is. We got Halo 4. We got Skyfall, the new James Bond, which I think is James Bond in the world of Skyrim. I think that's pretty much how it works.
Yeah.
He was James Bond until he got an arrow to the knee.
It's actually just one, like the beginning of Moonraker, the parachute sequence. It's one whole 90 minutes, like buried.
Yeah, he's just
where
falling
he's falling
constantly.
which
That's actually kind of an awesome idea.
Awesome. Is there any way to make someone fall for that long?
No.
Scientifically, how
was it
far
like the
up-
No, the
deepest
guy,
hole
the
in
guy
How
who
far
just
up would
did
they have
it.
to
The guy
be?
just did it.
That wasn't 90 minutes.
No,
though.
it was like 4, but that's about as far as you can get.
Yeah.
Because he literally went as far as humanly possible.
Well, I'm gonna think about this.
Hey, I want to tell everybody, remind everybody, vote tomorrow. Voting is cool. It's happening
Oh my God,
tomorrow.
it's tomorrow. That's not so.
Wow.
Just give a shit.
Yeah.
Give a shit and
Or
exercise your right.
don't give a shit, but still go vote.
I think
Really,
you should give a shit.
either way.
Young people like us are the people who tend to
Like-
not give a shit, and we can
Like
really
us?
affect things.
I don't know about that.
We're young.
Yeah.
I think we started.
We rock the vote still, right?
Between 18 and us. Anyway, we want to thank our background sent in Daniel's last name
Schwerk.
unpronounceable.
Daniel Schwerk.
Look at you just casting it off like
Bam.
it's nothing.
I love it.
Schwerk.
Halo 4 time, so
Yeah.
Halo.
TRS low is what we got.
TRS low. If you want to have your background shown on the show, please feel free to send it to fans@totallyradshow.com. Let's get into that show.
It's Halo 4 time. It's time to talk about Halo 4, one of those big flagship franchises on the Xbox. Halo was created by Bungie Studios. They made a whole bunch of titles, got huge, everybody knows
Really
about
put
Halo.
Xbox on the map. I mean, it was a massive
It did.
launch success for the original Xbox. Yeah.
It did, and proved that first-person shooters could work on consoles, all that stuff. You guys know the history. The big news, of course, is Bungie stopped making Halos, and 343 Studios, which was created to take on the mantle of Halo, has released their first Halo. It's Halo 4, so it's a big deal. Big deal, not only because it's part of this franchise, but it's the first from a brand new studio. The first time anybody other than Bungie has had it. So we got new aliens. We've got the return of Master Chief and Cortana. I don't really need to tell you more than that. Alex,
Yes, sir.
tell me about Halo 4. What do you think?
Well, first off, you put the game in. The first thing you see is a sort of a cutscene that is a sort of different tone than I think most Halo games took.
Pretty awesome cutscene, I would say.
Pretty awesome cutscene. Very much more cinematic, much more sort of story-driven and emotional kind of thing, which was very interesting. I was like, oh, because one of the things that we've noted about Halo in the past is that it gets mired in its own sort of garbledy-gook sci-fi vibe.
Boy, you took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
The garbledy-gook out of my
The
mouth.
garbledy-gook out of your mouth. So there was so the moment that it started, I was like, oh, we're in Storytown. We're in.
And it's an awesome setup for a story.
Awesome setup for a story.
But I would argue that the game isn't about that at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
I'm glad we're on the same page
yeah,
about
it's kind
that.
of like a great cutscene that then just turns into a regular Halo game.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, finally this game's gonna be about something that I can latch onto
Yes.
and relate to and
the
understand.
soul of who these characters
Yeah.
are, and then it just becomes
And
crazy
then it's
sci-fi.
about none of that.
Yeah,
I'm so glad we're on the same page
yeah.
about that.
Now, so a couple things right out of the gate. Gorgeous. gorgeous. This is the first game that I've seen in a while where I actually went, maybe I don't need another generation of consoles. I mean, literally, I was like, this is great. This is what I want next gen to look like. The model of Master Chief is amazing. Also, you know, you can really feel the fresh lifeblood put into this game with the new creatures that show up, the alien weapons that build themselves around you when you pick up and reload. All that stuff is really inventive,
rad.
and it's really inventive. And you can see that they took the sort of like big AAA first-person shooter titles and sort of were like, let's take some of these great multiplayer aspects of this and bring it into the game. So you get things like the Spartan Ops, which are essentially the things that we've seen in Call of Duties, where it's sort of like little, co-op experience things, you know what I mean? Not really like the co-op
Tons of content there,
story.
though.
The tons of content, but they're really just kind of like, go here, kill these, and thank you for doing that kind of things. But there's a whole leveling mechanic that they built into it. The game itself...
The campaign.
The campaign of the game itself, I think, falls prey to a lot of issues that Halo as a franchise has. There's just... And it's weird to me because the science fiction of the Halo universe and the way that it's handled is just not interesting to me. And I don't understand that because, you look at a game like Mass Effect, it's all the same kind of, it's just made up gobbledygook about this world, but for whatever reason, I can follow it really well. I understand what's happening. It doesn't seem sort of like just made up stuff. Whereas with the Halo universe, there's just this thing like, there's just the conductor, and what does that mean? We got to stop this.
The composer, the librarian, the
reclaimer,
the
reclaimer, it gets to this point where it's just like, I just don't care anymore.
But did you have fun?
I had some fun. It was fun. The thing, there's two quick things. One, never felt like there was much of a skill challenge. I felt like it was
Well, you were playing on normal? There's two more,
Sure. Oh, yeah, but I don't mean just, it takes more shots to kill a guy, or there are more of them. It felt, there was no strategy. It was just go forward, kill the people, go forward. And yes, I guess you could say all first-person shooters are like that, but they don't feel like that. You know what I mean? So I really felt like it was just kind of just go forward, and then see a cutscene, and then keep going forward, and then you see a cutscene. Keep going forward, you see a cutscene. So it really didn't feel as fun as some of the first-person shooters are, where you're kind of figuring out how am I supposed to do this? Where am I going? Okay, here are all the guys. And the other thing was not being able to look down the iron sights. Really felt like a step back to me. I missed that a lot. Because yes, you can press the center button to like zoom in on your scoped weapons, but the bottom line is, even a pistol, I'm more accurate when I'm looking down the iron sights than I am just shooting from the hip. I'm just more accurate in first-person shooters. So to take that ability away from me in all the games all the guns that don't have a sight scope, really felt like we were back in 1995. I mean, I was like, why was that something that they thought needed to be taken away from somebody?
Well, it's not taken away. It just was never in Halo. You know what I mean?
It was in Halo. You could do it with the pistol all the time. That's how I did it.
You can still do it with the pistol.
Yeah, the Magnum still has.
No, you had to press the center button. The center button would.
But you never left
trigger.
trigger. You're saying just instead of left trigger? You could remap that theoretically.
No, but you could do iron sights in Halo, I thought.
No, left trigger is always grenades.
I thought the bumper was always grenades.
No, bumper was reload in the last one.
That's so weird. Anyway,
Left
long
and
story
right.
short, maybe it was just the first time that I really felt it was missing in this game, and maybe it's just because I've been playing so many first-person shooters, but boy, it really did. It felt like a step back. So it was fun, it was gorgeous, but I didn't fall in love with it at all.
Dan, how's your love level?
Well, I completely agree with all of your guys' preamble. In terms of the graphics, I remember saying at E3 that I was unimpressed with the graphics, and I was blown away. I love that the art style really looks like moving concept art. A lot of times there's a vast difference between when you see concept art for a game or movie and then you see the finished product. And you're like, why can't it look like that? It's so cool. And this game had that painterly quality to it. And Agreed the cutscene amazing, and agreed that I was very excited to finally have hooks in what is usually very esoteric. But agree that it lost track. Although, I mean, it's good to still have the Cortana and the love story between them, like in the center of it. I think what's interesting about it is because you compared it to Mass Effect, and I think other games like Mass Effect take their inspiration and the genre of story it's telling and the tropes it derives from are cinematic ones from movies, like The Dirty Dozen for the Mass Effect 2 and things like that. And Halo feels much more literary based, like things like Librarian, Composer, Reclaimers, and although that's in Mass Effect 2, but it feels like Dune or The Lord of the Rings, or it's about really dense mythological, deep in its own mythology stuff, as opposed to a taut action through line.
But the bummer to me is it's exactly our criticism with Lost and a lot of other things where it's like, here's a big explanation for something, and the explanation is, well, it was this other word that means nothing.
Right.
It's just
There's nothing
fluff
totally,
backing up fluff, which is sort of like, you want to know what the Reclaimer is about? Well, it's the Composer.
Yeah.
It's like, well, both of those mean nothing.
But I will say I had a lot of fun in the combat. What Alex described as his experience is how I felt about every other Halo game. I thought the firefights in this Halo were very dynamic. I loved the increase in scale. They just get bigger and bigger, and every fight, because the AI is so well developed, it's like I really did feel like I had to I couldn't just run and gun, and I didn't feel like I'm just stopping and shooting. I felt like I had to be smart. I had to be constantly engaged. I could never go on autopilot in the fights. What's interesting in this, we get in this annual debate, you and I specifically, between games like Halo and games like Call of Duty.
Right.
And we're about to get into again, and I'm going to start it right now. This is the first time I've really enjoyed the combat in a Halo game. I much more prefer being in, and I wish since we've had Halo do this kind of combat, and we've had the more linear, experiential, like
roller coaster
the
ride?
roller coaster ride that it's in the Call of Duty games is like an absolute thrill, and you feel like you're in. This is the problem with after the first Halo, because the first Halo you open up in that huge world and you're like, oh my god, I'm in a science fiction universe. But after that luster has gone, and now the cutscenes always feel like the crazy is happening. Oh my god! And the commercials for Halo are like, holy crap, it's war.
I want to feel like that.
Yeah, and then you play the game, and it's very video gamey, which is fun in terms of the challenge of it.
Yeah.
But it's never feels like a taut cinematic experience.
Yeah,
It never
I
feels
can't
like,
believe that
oh my
just
god,
happened.
I'm in this. And that's where the Call of Duty games shine. It's like you feel like you're in this. It's like Die Hard versus Lord of the Rings. The Die Hard experience, yes, it doesn't have a dense story, but it's like a roller coaster ride. Oh my god, you're in this, that, and the other. Whereas Lord of the Rings is like following these characters and this thing, and that's what the Halo games feel like. I wish they would just swap for one iteration, and it would.
You think that's still the case with this one?
I wish that Call of Duty could get into more of an experience,
the answer is yes to that
milieu in a more broad, open world, open sandbox fights. And I wish for one Halo game, give me a roller coaster ride of nonstop, throwing me into this.
Do you not think that this game was very much influenced by Call of Duty? I think Halo 4 is the most
like Call of Duty.
I mean, it's not like Call of Duty, but there's definitely elements where it's like,
there at least were like
especially the end.
more set piece. I didn't get to the end, but I definitely was able to experience a lot more set piece moments, and each sequence felt like it's had more of its own identity. It felt less monotonous, but it still had a bit of that monotony, and it still felt, which I enjoyed as a gameplay, but oh man, would I love for the Halo to deliver on that action thrill ride that commercials promise. And
see, I don't want that. And again, this is our debate. And I think.
And it was fun. I did have fun, even though I was saying with the combat moving forward. I did have fun.
I feel even more positive than either of you guys about it, even though I do have some major quibbles. And we already kind of have tread and retread the story thing. But I think even more the story thing is that They do a lot of things. There's just poor storytelling. They establish a villain out of nowhere who's not explained, and I get he's probably set up for a sequel and another sequel, but he shows up, he's dangerous, he disappears, and then he shows up at the end, and there's no context, it doesn't mean anything, and there's no stakes, and it's just poor screenwriting, really. But there's a whole bunch of stuff like that. Also, every single thing you do in this game, every objective in the campaign mode is run over here and push a button.
Yeah.
Always push a button. Put Cortana into something. Push that button. Run across the bridge. Push another button. I don't understand that. How can that possibly be the case? How could they have made an entire game where everything you do? Now, those are my gripes. Layered on top of that, I had so much fun playing this Halo game. I think that 343 should be commended for how right they got the feel of Halo, even injecting in all these new aliens, new alien weapons, which it's unfortunate they are all sort of analogs to everything. I mean, there's just the alien sniper rifle, the alien shotgun, the alien rocket launcher. But it all still feels like Halo. They get what I love about Halo, right? The gigantic feeling like you're part of something larger than yourself battles where you're walking out, there's already people fighting, like, oh my god, I'm gonna jump on a ghost and I'm gonna be part of that. No, next time I'm gonna stay on foot and go and grab a sniper rifle. Yeah. That creativity of the battlefield where it isn't just, well, there's one way to deal with this. Yeah. It's, I get to really be a maestro on the battlefield figuring out how I want to tackle that.
When you take down huge epic things, it's not like in God of War or in Shadow Colossus where it's like you're doing the one thing that the game demands. And you take down the big thing, which feels like, everyone's doing that. When you take down a big colossal thing, it's because you frickin' figured out and you almost broke the game to do some cool thing. Yeah.
And no spoilers, but that mammoth level is one of the coolest video game levels ever. Also, mechs. Are always rad.
Yeah. And jetpacks.
All the new equipment is super rad and works really well and adds another layer of creativity and they're always giving you lots of options.
Although I have to say, I would constantly forget that I had that kind of thing, like my hologram guy. I never threw him because I was just shooting and was being successful. So I feel like, and like the shield, holding up the shield and stuff.
Maybe in heroic and legendary that becomes more of a necessity.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it was one of those things where I was like,
all the time, actually.
Interesting.
Always use my turret. Always use my. I always felt like
Sentry is so
Sentry,
cool.
I
loved that. So I had so much fun playing this game, and it is absolutely beautiful. The graphics. Halo is finally a show-off piece for your television or your 360. It's what Gears of War used to be. It's like, let me put this game in and show you what this system is capable of, and that's what Halo should have been because it's that flagship product. Yeah. I think, everybody's probably already buying it, but I want to play more of the multiplayer and more of the Spec Ops because I didn't do that. But from a campaign perspective, it definitely has some misses that are endemic to the whole series, and it introduces some new misses that I think are unfortunate. But overall, I had so much fun playing it that I can't help but recommend it. I think it's one of the best shooters of the year, just on a pure gameplay level. And the levels themselves are so different from one another, and the firefights are so well constructed, and I always felt like I had options and I had a new milieu to explore and to have a great time in. It's just unfortunate that the story is just pushing buttons and kind of malarkey, but...
Well, Halo 4.
Halo 4. What's Halo 4? For playing.
All right, everybody, be sure to stick around. We're going to be answering one of your Twitter questions right after this, but first we want to thank our sponsor.
With more than 26 million members, Netflix is the world's leading internet subscription service for enjoying movies and TV programs. You can watch them instantly from your Xbox 360, your Sony PS3, your Nintendo Wii, your Apple devices, your Kindle, your Nook.
Soon your Wii U.
Your Wii U, or your iPad Mini.
Oh, hell no.
Or iPad 4.
Yeah.
Or any of those Apple devices.
It's all included in that. As a Netflix member, you can instantly watch as many movies as you want, anytime, or TV shows, anytime you want for one low monthly price.
Oh.
There are no late fees or due dates. I have been watching on Netflix Instant when I go Betty Bye on my iPad. Some of the old James Bond movies are on Netflix. I was watching From Russia with Love. Moonraker's on there. A smattering.
Moonraker.
Great ones. So you can check them out if you're amped up for Skyfall coming soon. As a new member and a TRS viewer, you can get a free 30-day trial membership. Go to netflix.com/TRS and sign up. Be sure to use that URL so they know that we sent you. Netflix.com/TRS.
Very good.
Hey, don't forget to get out there and vote if you live in the United States this week. It's
happening.
amazing. And
Happening.
And let them know that TRS sent you.
Yeah. Write that right in
us
for
in.
President of the United States, TRS.
You know, president is a big deal, but those like propositions
local stuff,
it's
yeah.
it's really what decides your life. So
Yeah,
you know,
get your knowledge
educate yourself
on.
and exercise your right to vote. It's really important.
Join us tomorrow when we talk about Disney buying Lucasfilm.
Today's Twitter question sent in with the hashtag #TRSQ was sent in by Abdul Peniagua at King Abdul. Is The Nightmare Before Christmas more a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie? This is a good question.
Age-old question.
This is a good question. Should we do it on 3? Try to.
Yeah.
Yeah? Ready? On 3?
Okay.
Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Christmas. Oh, cheater.
No, it's not. It's both. It's 100%
It's more an
both.
interesting
But if you had to
discussion.
pick.
Okay, so what'd you say?
I said
Halloween?
Christmas.
Christmas?
It's more a Christmas
Why
movie.
do you feel that way?
Because it's
Because it's
yeah.
not either, so it's really the explanation that's
Wait,
interesting.
you said neither. You said both.
No, I
and
said, no, I know, no, I'm saying.
He's
What did
saying
you say?
we both
You can't
said
say
both.
that- you
We
can't-
both said both, basically.
You can't say both. The
No,
whole
no.
point is to pick.
I
but
didn't-
he's
no, I'm
saying-
saying what are your? I'm saying you can't really say it's one or the either. What's interesting is your reasons, because the answer is
Yeah, no, to me.
So what's I know.
Right.
So what's your reason?
But did you say? What did you say?
I didn't say. I'll say. Yeah, but what's your reason? Why do you think it's Christmas?
It's about Halloween invading Christmas. So where they're headed and what they're doing is about Christmas, and I think they spend much more time. They're in Halloween Town, yes, but it's more about him finding the spirit of Christmas than it is about anything about Halloween. So
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree
I
with
see
that.
that. The problem is I think it's pretty even. I was thinking about the running time. I think it's pretty evenly split.
Maybe.
All in Halloween, then it's Christmas, but it ends on all boogity and
That's
Halloweeny
true.
and all that.
But I think it's Jack Skellington finding the spirit of Christmas and giving and
I agree,
all
and
those.
it ends on a Santa Clausian thing. But yeah, I think it's perfectly suited to watch on Christmas, on Halloween, the 31st, because it's like you were in Halloween, and the next big holiday you have to look forward
Yeah.
to is
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. The Nightmare Before Thanksgiving. The Nightmare Before Christmas.
But what did
2.
you say when we kind of did 3?
I didn't answer it.
He went like
I
this.
listened to
Really?
you
We said
guys.
3, and I'm the only one that actually answered.
I did. I said
You
both.
said, can't say both.
Yeah, you can't say both.
That
That's,
says
that's silly.
or a.
So
and
if you
or.
had to choose, Alex,
you-
if you had to choose,
there isn't. For me, it's not an answer
I think
because.
I go Halloween.
Well.
you would.
The overture
I mean, I think-
is Halloween. You know, there's more of a. I mean,
Let's just say this. I would prefer
more interesting
to,
for a discussion
Here's the thing.
than-
I would prefer to watch this movie on Halloween
That's what I mean,
than watch
yeah.
this movie on Christmas.
I think that's exactly the fair answer.
Yeah, because I think
wrong.
that well, but I think it is more of a Christmas movie. I would prefer to watch this movie because watching this movie on Christmas wouldn't really get me in the Christmas mood. It would sure as hell get me in the Halloween mood. You know
It's
what I
really
mean?
one
But I
song.
agree with you about the
it's
fact
only
that
one.
it's about,
Halloween.
It's only one set piece that is Christmassy. You know,
Yeah.
it's that. What is that? You know, what's this? Is like, gives me Christmas cheer.
But anyway, thank you, Abdul.
Well, we know for sure it's not Hanukkah themed.
Yeah, screw that.
The Nightmare Before Hanukkah.